What's up guys, it's Matterz, and 1 month from today it is expected that we will see the release date of the Black Ops 3 Zombies DLC 3 map pack. We're going to see a ton of stuff regarding Nikolai and Stalingrad, everything, a lot of stuff is going to occur within that map. We're going to see a lot of stuff on the actual plans and the predictions for DLC 4 formulate there as well. So DLC 3 is definitely going to be a huge map, not only for the game, but for the storyline as well. But we're going to be focusing on Nikolai and everything Nikolai can possibly do within that new DLC 3 Zombies map. I'll talk about Ascension, I'll mention Yuri, Gersh, and all that stuff, but we're really going to start focusing on Nikolai and everything that is going to surround him, because he may do a lot of unpredictable stuff, yet predictable as well, based on Richtofen, based on his beliefs regarding Richtofen and the Summoning Key, and all that insane stuff. And I made this video for Takio actually being killed within DLC 2. Obviously, we sort of knew that was going to happen, but we sort of, at least I had a lot of support on that video, and a lot of people, liked it, so we're going to do another one here, really focusing on Nikolai and his sort of adventures and what's actually going to happen within that map. So if you can, please do like, that'll be greatly appreciated. If we can hit 100 likes, that would just be insane for this video, and especially for DLC 3, and it'll show you guys that it'll show me at least, and show us in general that we're actually really hyped for DLC 3, and we actually want to get something done. And yeah, so let's get started. So DLC 3 again. I'm going to be mentioning the leaked information. Obviously, the leaked information we already sort of know. If you guys don't know, I'll try to read the actual sort of like lines of code for you guys. Basically, talks about DLC 3 being within Russia, in Stalingrad, and you also have obtaining Nikolai, and it's also pretty interesting because you actually have to obtain Nikolai, and that sort of hints at what's going to happen if we're searching for Nikolai, whether or not we actually need to get Nikolai to actually help him or save him, or Nikolai, the orders of Nikolai, wants to get the Nikolai from Black Ops 1 and keep it away from Richtofen. That's going to be huge for the actual game, because maybe Nikolai will not die within DLC 3, and maybe Nikolai will actually try to protect himself, his older version, from Richtofen, and we'll talk about that in a second. But basically the code here, DLC 3, or I'll read the whole thing here, AI underscore ZM underscore DLC 3 underscore Russian underscore mech heat variant. That's the mech within the actual game. You have Deep Russia geographic location, that's the actual Russian location. You have Dragon Strike, that's another thing. But here's the main information here, ZM underscore DLC 3 underscore Nikolai underscore summon. So we have the actual sort of ideas of the map, and people, what they've been saying, due to the dragons actually being in the code. Now I'm going to mention everything we've seen with the leaked information, how it relates back to Nikolai, but people were saying that you actually summon Nikolai from a dragon that was on the map that actually took Nikolai. So you have to train the dragon, get get Nikolai and his body, or whatever he's in, a cryogenic form, whether he's alive or whether he's like Dempsey from Horizon, just in that sort of enclosed area. You have to get him from the dragon, because the dragon's basically capturing him and sort of enclosing him, let's say on the dragon or inside the dragon's lair, wherever the dragon's basically going to be within DLC 3, because dragons are confirmed for DLC 3, we just don't know where they're going to be. So that's basically how you would summon Nikolai, because in the code it says you have to summon Nikolai, you have to obtain Nikolai. So again, the dragons could definitely relate towards that, but that's not the main purpose here. The main purpose is, what are you actually going to do with Nikolai, and what is going to happen with this Black Ops 1 Nikolai. Now, if you go off of killing Nikolai, it could happen because of two different things. Now, Nikolai as a character, especially within the Giant has so many quotes, countless quotes, Horizon, even Zetsumi no Shima, so many quotes within those maps where freaking Nikolai just straight up says, you know what, I do not like Richtofen, I do not want this to happen. And every time these DLCs happen where these characters die, Nikolai is highly against it. Now, there's Zetsumi no Shima intro cutscene, it was a bit weird, honestly, because Nikolai sort of went for it as well, and he was just like, oh yeah, we have to get this, we have to go over here, get the summoning key. It was sort of intended, because they were all trying to save the summoning key and jump for it, but maybe that was just to make sure nothing crazy happens if they got rid of the summoning key. It's sort of like keeping this evil orb. You don't want the evil orb to like get into the hands of other people, but you want to get rid of it for yourself. It's sort of like that concept. So I don't know what that would relate to, maybe some sort of like anime or whatever, but basically, guys, that's really what it would be. Nikolai still does not agree with Richtofen. Dempsey as well, Dempsey doesn't agree with Richtofen, and you saw in the Horizon Easter egg cutscene, he was highly against it. Dempsey was like, no, I don't want this to happen, but he was just like, you know what, whatever, let me just kill my past self, I don't want you to do it. At least, if anyone's going to do it, let it be me. It's going to be the same exact thing with Nikolai, but a lot worse. Nikolai has a strong hatred of Richtofen and what he's doing. So within DLC 3, two possible things could happen if we're talking about killing Nikolai. So if Nikolai's fate for Black Ops 1, the Black Ops 1 version of Nikolai is to die within DLC 3, as we would presume it would be, and this would be like the predictable path. Two things would happen. One, Nikolai would sort of go through and resist it at first, sort of like Dempsey. It's going to be a bit more similar to Dempsey than it was with Takio. Nikolai's going to resist it in the Easter egg ending cutscene. They're going to summon Nikolai from the dragon, the Black Ops 1 Nikolai. The dragon will come down, bring it. Richtofen will sort of have control of the dragon, and maybe if we've been talking about training the dragons, maybe we have to actually train the dragon to bring it, to get it down and get Nikolai down from the dragon, or the dragon will have to obtain Nikolai from wherever it's enclosing it, the body, whatever you want to call it, and bring it down to us, and maybe that would be part of the Easter eggs. That would make sense. But again, Richtofen would have mainly control. Nikolai would resist it, but then anyway, in the end, Nikolai would just have to kill his past self, and you would just move into DLC 4, sort of with ease, with tension between Nikolai and Richtofen, and tension between Dempsey and Richtofen, but with ease as well. Pretty easy, same thing, a death that we've sort of expected this whole time. Now, the second possibility is actually very interesting. It could be some sort of battle. Now, if we're making this Nikolai sort of hatred between Richtofen a lot more than it actually is, and we're making it just huger and larger than we've ever seen before, a lot of stuff can go down, and not only will Nikolai potentially die, maybe like the actual origins of Nikolai could get into some serious trouble with Richtofen as well, either him dying as well, or him being split up between the group, or the whole group splitting in general, with Nikolai and Dempsey picking their side, and Takio and Richtofen picking the other side, one in favor of the summoning key, obviously Richtofen, Takio, and then one not in favor of the summoning key, Dempsey and Nikolai. So that would be insane. How that would work is obviously they would be playing throughout the map. You would have quotes within the map from the start of round 1, basically them talking about, you know what, I don't trust you, I don't think this is going to happen, we shouldn't be doing this, and Richtofen's like giving him threats like, no, we have to do this, just wait what will happen, wait and see what you will do, or what I will do if you go against me. If Nikolai goes against Richtofen, wait and see what's going to happen, basically. So if the Easter egg plays out like that, we're going to see a huge fight between Richtofen. Richtofen may actually manhandle Nikolai into actually doing this, obviously leading to a huge boss fight, not really between like an actual zombie boss, but actually between Nikolai and Richtofen themselves. Nikolai gets hurt, Nikolai goes into DLC 4 actually being injured from Richtofen, and sort of not even being within the group in this outside realm, or Nikolai actually dies, and then you're going into DLC 4 with this huge tension. We have an extra replacement character that actually sides with Dempsey, or gives sort of insight into what's going on, and sort of goes against Richtofen in sort of like vengeance and revenge for obviously Nikolai, him dying, him being injured, wherever he is within that DLC 4 realm. This replacement character, whoever he is, will actually help fight against Richtofen and his main goal with the summoning key. Whether or not you think it's evil, I think it's very clear now that Richtofen really has some secrets, especially with the trailer. We've seen so much stuff with Richtofen doing evil stuff, lying, cheating in the past. No one knows what he's actually going to do, and he talks about potentially relating to Maxis, how Maxis has no clue what Richtofen's actually going to do, and I doubt it's for good. Like, saying all that stuff, I doubt it's for good. So I feel like Richtofen, especially within DLC 3, tensions are going to be high with him, and he's going to have a lot of pressure to actually complete his goal. With Nikolai trying to get in his way, it's just not going to happen. Nikolai, I know, is going to fight back against Richtofen, and Richtofen is going to need to fight back as well, and it's just not going to play out well. It really isn't. It's going to be really huge for the game, so we're going to have to see what really goes down. I'm telling you, it's going to be insane, and yeah, this is what's basically going to happen with Nikolai within DLC 3. Again, there are other possibilities where Nikolai just actually gets it and puts it up upon himself, where he just fights Richtofen and dies. He could just sort of resist Richtofen, but just go through it and go into DLC 4 with tensions high as well. And that's really it. There's nothing. I do think it would go to an extreme, and I do think if anything's gonna happen, and the extreme will happen, it probably would be for DLC 3 with Nikolai, just based on what we're doing in DLC 4, based on the tensions with Richtofen and his plans to complete his evil goal. At least I'm pretty sure, man, it's gonna be evil. There's so much stuff hinting at it being evil, especially Nikolai going against it. Like, why would Nikolai be against a good goal for the world? It just makes no sense. Especially Dempsey as well. Why would Dempsey resist Richtofen doing this? Why would it be for good if Dempsey doesn't want it? Unless Dempsey's bad and Nikolai's bad, which would be a whole reversal of what we've been saying this whole time, the whole community. So I think it's pretty clear that stuff is going to go down. If it's going to go down, it's going to be for DLC 3. So let me know what you guys think about Nikolai, what he's going to do, how it's going to go down and play out, within DLC 3 and Stalingrad. So let me know what you guys think. Hope you guys did enjoy, and I will see you guys later. Goodbye.